When we come back, we'll look at a conspiracy between two men in Dallas. Two men officials say never even met.
In a moment, we'll return to Who Murdered JFK?
We know of at least two players in Dallas, Lee Harvey Oswald and Jack Ruby. For the last 25 years, we've been told that Oswald and Ruby had never met before the assassination. But you're about to see reenactments of eyewitness accounts indicating that not only had Ruby and Oswald met, they knew each other and could have been co-conspirators. And you will hear other eyewitnesses who corroborate those claims. One of the most disturbing aftermaths of the Kennedy assassination was the murder of accused gunman Lee Harvey Oswald in the basement of the Dallas Police Department. He was shot point blank in the stomach by mob associate and nightclub owner Jack Ruby.
Who's this Jack Ruby guy? Jack Ruby had numerous connections to organized crime.
He grew up in Chicago, where he was, among other things, a runner for Al Capone.
He was brought in for questioning as a suspect in the murder of Leon Cook, who was the head of the Chicago Waste Handlers Union. There was not enough evidence to hold him in custody, and so he was released. And he immediately went to the Chicago Waste Handlers Union. He got a job as an organizer with Paul Dorfman, who was the man who was responsible for introducing Jimmy Hoffa to the Mafia in the Midwest back during the early 1940s.
During the late 40s, the Mafia decided to take over the rackets of the Southwest, and Ruby was one of a group of about a dozen Chicago hoodlums who came down to Dallas with the mob.
Jack Ruby, organized crime figure. But there are others who paint a different picture of Ruby.
I think the best description would be he was a gopher. The fellow would go for sandwiches in the police station.
He was an oddball, a screwball.
He was a well-meaning fellow.
I think he was mentally ill.
Jack Ruby was a hanger-on in the Chicago mob, but he loved the ambiance. He loved the glamour of the mobster.
Several witnesses told the FBI that when you set up illegal gambling in Dallas, you had to clear it with Jack Ruby. He was pretty much controlled the fix of gambling between the police and the mob in the city.
He was a person that tried to get on the good side of any police officer that he met.
The police allowed Jack no favors, anything like that at all, and he never paid them off. He might give them a cup of coffee or something, but Jack liked to think he was in with the police. It gave him a feeling of importance, of being special. He had a in.
2:30 a.m., the Lucas B&B restaurant. Only 12 hours before the assassination, two waitresses witnessed a meeting between Jack Ruby and a man they identified as Lee Harvey Oswald.
There we are.
Thanks.
But witnesses claim this secret meeting may have been only one of many contacts between Ruby and Oswald.
Thank you.
Here, take care of it.
Testimony suggests a more involved relationship between the two men. Fall 1963, Dallas, Texas, just weeks before the fatal day.
One night, Jack had a meeting with several other men, and there were 7 at the table with Oswald being the 7th person. And they were there till about 1 a.m.
October 4, 1963, 6 weeks before the president's trip to Dallas.
Their conversation, in effect, was planning to kill Governor Connolly, the governor of the state of Texas, for the purpose of opening up the rackets in Texas.
Fall 1963, the date of the president's visit quickly approaches.
I was at the Carousel Club, and Jack Ruby was talking to a group of the advertising people, and he said Lee Harvey Oswald had been in the Carousel Club, and he was bragging that he had taken a shot at Major Edwin Walker.
If Jack Ruby was going to hire somebody to kill the President of the United States, he'd probably hire some kind of nut like Oswald.
A special report from Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Jack Anderson.
We stand today on the edge of a new frontier, the frontier of the 1960s.
How many men pulled the trigger? How has this conspiracy been kept secret for 25 years? And why are people still being threatened and killed for what they know? Who murdered JFK?